Hi, welcome back to McNally's Musket Missive. I'm Harry McNally, and this is a rifle musket. Last episode, we talked about the special model of 1861 and how Sam Colt thought he was helping Springfield prototype out a new Model 1861. And in some ways, he actually was. A lot of the revisions he made to the 1855, which didn't get made for the 1861, made it into this musket. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. First off, you'll see that the bolster, much like the special model, doesn't have the clean out screw. It's got that. It's flat with that eagle stamp. It's closer into the barrel. There's a new hammer to go along with the new geometry of the new barrel bolster situation. There's no swell in the ramrod like on the Colt special model. The hammer and the lock plate on the originals were case hardened. A lot of times those would be polished by the soldiers in the field because the officers like shiny things, and a lot of times that just lost the time, as I think in the case here. Also on the hammer, instead of having that cross checkering to give soldiers something to more easily thumb the hammer back with, they stamped on a shield pattern with some checkering in it. Now it's just a production. That's an ease of production thing. It's faster to stamp that on than it is to sit there with a file and file in the grooves like you saw on the 1855s and the 1861s. That was also a modification that was adopted by a lot of the contractors making Model 1861s, and as a result, you will see a lot of 1861 hammers with the shield checkering on them. All told, 329,000 of these were produced at Springfield and by 3 contractors. 273,000 of them were produced by Springfield. Let's get it over into the light box, and I can point out the key differences between this and the 1861 and the similarities with the Colt Special Model. Alright, so here it is, the Springfield Model 1863. At first glance, it looks very similar to the Colt Special Model 1861, and for that matter, the Model 1861. Other side, much the same as we've seen since 1855. Moving closer to the lock, we see the 1863 date. The overall shape of the lock plate is pretty much unchanged from the Model 1861. We've got the new hammer, the flat bolster with the eagle stamp on it, the same rear sight that Colt came up with, and around the lock panel on the stock, you see the remains of what looks like old shellac. I think somebody was trying to preserve this musket. That's a post-war addition, one that I'm not going to mess with for preservation reasons. Generally, old guns are not like old cars. If you take an old gun and you restore it to like new condition, you have actually reduced its value in the eyes of collectors. So anyway, moving forward, we've got the new rounded barrel bands held on by screw tension. There's still the U there to tell you which way is which. Moving forward again, the middle barrel band with the front sling swivel. Same deal, held on by a screw with the U telling you which way to go. And the business end. Really, there is very little change here from the Model 1861 other than the new barrel bands and the lack of the band springs to hold them on. The ramrod is consistent in diameter all the way through. It doesn't have the retention swell that the Model 1861 did. This is a change carried over from the Colt Special Model. Flipping it over, we've got, again, basically the same thing since 1855. Couple of screws in the side to hold the lock plate in place with some washers to keep them from digging into the wood. More evidence of that shellac I was talking about, and the inspection cartouche is quite visible. And you can just make out on that flat section of the barrel there the eagle head from the proof mark. Going up top, we see the 1863 production date on the barrel, and if you look at the hammer, you can just make out that shield-shaped stamped check I was talking about for checked shield stamp, rather, that was put there to allow the soldier's thumb to have some purchase when cocking the hammer, which was a production improvement since stamping something takes a lot less effort than just rasping away with a couple of files. One key difference between this and the Model 1861 that was briefly tried out was the end of the ramrod. Now, on all ramrods up to this point, you've got your ramming end and a threaded end for threading on tools. What they tried with this model was an attempt to simplify the number of tools issued to the soldier. The Model 1863 had, in the beginning, a ramrod that was threaded, but also came to a point so that it could be used as a tool for pulling balls out of bullets when the powder has failed. It would be protected by a brass cap that screwed onto the end of the ramrod, so that you'd still have a flat end for ramming, but you'd have that tool when you needed it. In reality, that really didn't work out very well. Those caps were getting lost a lot. A lot of times they'd be stuck in the ramrod channel, and you wouldn't be able to put the ramrod all the way back in. And if you lost that cap, your ramrod now had a pointy end where your palm goes if you're trying to ram a fouled musket, and that wasn't really ideal. So that was a very, very short-lived change. And on top of that, why make big changes? We'll see next episode with the Model 1864 that they tried to change the ramrod again for much better reasons, but they kept using the ones they had on hand because, parts on hand, may as well use them up. So that's everything I have for this episode. Please like this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I want to say a very heartfelt thank you to my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, I don't think I'd be able to continue doing this. If you please consider becoming a Patreon sponsor, there's going to be a link in the description below. Other than that, that's everything I have. Thanks for watching. Bye.